online. In a new Get the Facts, we delve into what advice you should think twice about if you're getting it from social media and so-called influencers.
And if you like the weather today, you'll love tomorrow's forecast as well. Here's a look at the next 12 hours in Daytona Beach for tomorrow. Highs will climb into the low 80s there in Daytona Beach with gorgeous sunshine, and winds will not nearly be as breezy for tomorrow. Another thing that's made the weather quite nice, the low humidity. I'll let you know when that humidity will start to get sticky. Coming up on the other side of the break.
Influencers give us great ideas, restaurant recommendations, and product reviews, but can you trust the financial advice that you get online?
West 2's Anika Hope tells us what it means to be a finfluencer and signs that you should unfollow.
There is no shortage of financial advice out there.
Danny Echeverria knows her job, marriage, health, it's a balance that, like it or not, ties into her budget.
It's part of your mental health. If you're stressing over your finances, your mental health is going to suffer.
Danny uses her social media to find information and tips on so many things in her life. For her and a growing number of folks, that includes financial information.
So how much did you spend on groceries? How much did you spend on going to the movies? How much did you spend on going out with friends? How much did you save/pay yourself? So those are different things that I love to see and how people do it.
There are plenty of influencers who are not only trustworthy, they're giving really excellent advice.
Erin Lowry is the author of the 3-part Broke Millennial book series. Lowry says money management and financial education have often been associated with the wealthy. Finfluencers, as financial influencers are called, have changed the game.
No matter where you're coming from in terms of your own background, you can probably find somebody who looks and has had similar life experiences to your own who's giving financial advice.
I'm listening to someone who's on par with me as opposed to someone who's up here and I'm down here.
And on one hand, that's a huge win. On the other hand, we need to learn how to vet folks.
Because a finfluencer is not the same as a certified financial advisor. Wake Forest University's Dr. Maravo Zayer says instead, finfluencers have no direct government regulation or accountability.
I don't think that they even know what the law is. I don't think that they know what the regulations are. The financial sector is so regulated, highly regulated.
Financial advisors must follow laws that require advertisements and endorsements to be truthful. They must disclose conflicts of interest, follow laws to protect you from fraud and scams, and work directly with you to create individualized investment strategies, plus pass professional exams. Finfluencers are not covered under consumer protection laws, and the SEC says their posts are often heavily protected under freedom of speech. That means you have limited ability to recover money if someone steers you in the wrong direction. The SEC filed charges in December against 8 social media influencers, one from Miami, accusing them of using their platforms to manipulate their followers to buy stocks. Then, after their followers boosted the volume and prices, selling off their own shares without informing their followers, creating a $100 million scheme.
So definitely always have your little antenna go up if the person that you're following is constantly pitching, this is the stock you should buy, this is the crypto you need to buy.
It's a balance of everything.
For Danny, watching people she trusts on YouTube and buying spreadsheets some influencers sell to budget, that works well for her. But just like all of the advice that's doled out, it may or may not work for you too.
How cute. Who knew budgeting could be cute?
Anika Hope, West 2 News.
Yeah, who knew? All right, there are several more red flags to look out for when it comes to following financial influencers online. You can find that information right now on our As Seen on Wesh 2 page over on wesh.com.
A highway near Jacksonville was buzzing this morning. Yeah, literally thousands of bees were released along the road after a pickup truck hauling beehives crashed into a semi-truck. No one was hurt, including Chris Farley or David Spade, but some of the hives were damaged. You got that one if you're from the 90s. Officials say the swarm of bees that escaped was not aggressive. The hives that were not damaged were then loaded onto another truck and hauled away.
I'm old enough to get that one. All right, let's talk about our weather, because I think after last week, we earned this.
Yes, mid-80s, beautiful skies out there. Meteorologist Cam Tran joins us now with a look outside. Cam, great day to be at the beach.
Yeah, smooth and sweet, just like honey. Here's a live look outside right now at New Smyrna Beach. The beaches are packed, and you know what? Can't blame these folks. It's beautiful outside, lots of sunshine out there. Currently, New Smyrna Beach, 86 degrees, 85 in Sanford, and hey there, good afternoon, Claremont. You're at 81 degrees. Still dealing with a stiff breeze there out of the west, coming in sustained about 10 to 20 miles per hour. See occasional gusts as strong as 25 at times. We actually had a gust of 26 in Orlando, 24 in DeLand, and up to 30 there in Sanford. Take a look at our first warning radar, not tracking any rain at all, but we do have this tiny little blip of green here on the radar. It looks like it's a controlled burn, and that's bringing in some smoking conditions over in Titusville. So if you're seeing some hazy skies there, that's likely the reason why. Look ahead the rest of the evening. It is looking really nice. Clear skies ahead. Going to be a nice cool night. And tomorrow, beautiful sunrise. We are going to see those temperatures be quite comfortable tomorrow morning. And one of the reasons why it feels so nice to be outside, the humidity. It's been on the lower side. Dew points that measure the moisture in the air currently in the upper 50s to low 60s. And whenever dew points are around that range, it still feels quite pleasant to be outside. Now, as we look ahead towards the latter half of the week, still very comfortable dew points out there. So very nice humidity. But we start to creep up that humidity just a hair as we go into the weekend, especially Saturday. A little bit more on the muggy side for the second half of the week and on Sunday. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be a nice start with temperatures in the low 60s up to the North Palm Coast. We can actually start off in the upper 50s there, as well as in Ocala. Tomorrow afternoon, temperatures, especially with that northwesterly wind, will be a tad cooler, just a few degrees cooler, in fact, than where we were yesterday and this afternoon. High temperatures mostly in the middle 80s tomorrow, so really nice day to get outside. Whether it's going out for a walk or jog or heading out to the local theme parks, Wednesday is looking great. Spectacular sunshine, perfect weather tomorrow, and nice comfortable weather in Central Florida. This nice stretch of weather will continue towards the latter half of the week. Now, as we go towards Thursday and Friday, we're to start to notice those temperatures start to inch up a bit. High temperatures will be climbing mostly into the upper 80s, and by the time we head into the weekend, winds will be shifting more out of the south-southeast, pumping in some more warm and humid air. So by Saturday, we're talking about a high of 90 degrees with just a slight chance of a rain shower. Saturday looks to be really nice, actually the drier of the 2 weekend days. And then on Sunday, pretty warm still. In fact, we'll be still near 90 degrees. And look at that rain chance. We do start to increase that rain chance to about a 40% coverage on Sunday. And that does include a chance for a few thunderstorms, particularly in the afternoon. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. A nice stretch of weather through the end of the week. Then it starts to get hot, especially over the weekend. 90 a high on Saturday. We're staying into the upper 80s through early next week with, again, those rain chances sticking around. Monday and Tuesday, 40% rain coverage, 50% rain coverage for Tuesday. We are going to see a nice stretch of weather up until then, so enjoy it while it lasts. We do have a space launch coming up this week. I'll let you know when. A look at that weather forecast for it coming up in the 4:30 half hour.
All right, thanks, Campbell. A growing epidemic in the United States.
The Surgeon General is warning about the dangers of loneliness. What he's calling for to help Americans feel more connected.
Late night television is about to go dark. The impact the writer's strike is already having tonight as script writing comes to a screeching halt. The fate of our favorite TV shows may be in jeopardy. Writers in Hollywood are now on strike after they failed to reach a new deal with producers.
It's the first time we've seen a screenwriter strike in 15 years. Production of all shows and movies have come to a screeching halt, and more than 11,000 members of the Writers Guild of America have been ordered to cease all script writing immediately. Because of this, late night programs are expected to go dark and will have to resort to reruns. Writers are demanding higher minimum pay, more staffing, and new rules for residual pay when it comes to streaming. Producers argue they presented an offer with generous increases in compensation and improvements in streaming residuals already. Meanwhile, the reaction across Hollywood is mixed.
We just came off of a great rebound from COVID year, and momentum was moving forward, and then something that's completely out of our control like this happens.
Nobody disagrees that writers in Hollywood are underpaid right now. There's a tremendous amount of content, but they're not getting the compensation they want for it.
It is not clear just how long this strike could last. In the past, they have lasted for several months. There is outrage in the soccer world tonight. FIFA is threatening to pull the broadcast of its upcoming Women's World Cup in some European countries over the offers from broadcasters there.
Ooh, this story. So the organization called the offers a, quote, slap in the face. According to FIFA's president, broadcasters will pay up to $200 million for the Men's World Cup, but offered only $10 million for the women's. He's now urging them to pay a fair price. If not, FIFA says it will be forced not to broadcast the cup to those countries.
Well, we're going to win the cup anyway, but they got to come up with some dollars to make sure those ladies get paid. All right, getting into the U.S. now without a COVID shot.
Yeah, when the nation is doing away with its vaccine requirements for travelers. That's next.
Also tonight, students terrorized as they wrap up the spring semester. Their concerns on campus after a series of stabbings nearby.
And 3 teens shot in the tourist district. Now authorities say it was just one person who fired the shots. We're getting a closer look at this ongoing investigation next.
WESH 2 News continues.
Police in Orlando say it was one person who fired into a crowd on I-Drive, hitting 3 teenagers.
One of those teens has died. Officers are still trying to track down the person who pulled that trigger.
West 2's Michelle Meredith tells us how the 2 14-year-olds who survived are doing today and where the investigation stands.
We have a few updates for you about this Chipotle shooting, and here's what we know so far. That one of the teens shot at the amusement center was very seriously injured and is still in the hospital. A family member posted on Facebook that the 14-year-old is so blessed to still be alive and asked people to pray for him and his family. The second 14-year-old shot at Desertland Action Park is out of the hospital. And sadly, we learned Monday the third victim, 14-year-old Trevon Robinson, did not survive. Now, this happened Saturday night on I-Drive in the heart of Orlando's tourist district. The Desertland Action Park is an indoor amusement center with go-karts, laser tag games, a bowling alley, and more. Orlando police were apparently already working a call at the park about kids loitering. As the crowd was breaking up, police say someone started shooting. That's when the 3 14-year-olds were hit. In an email today, the public information officer for the Orlando Police Department said, "Our detectives are working diligently to solve this case and that we share the same concerns for the safety of our community." Now, there are 2 Desertland Action Parks, one in Orlando and one in South Florida. We have reached out to see if they have any comment, and so far we have not heard back. In Orange County, Michelle Meredith, West 2 News.
Orlando police ask if you have any information that can help. Call Crime Line at 1-800-423-TIPS.
And just in from Brevard County, police in Melbourne say a person is in custody in connection to a lockdown at Palm Bay High School this afternoon.
According to officers, there were reports about a person who was possibly armed in the parking lot of the school. The school was placed on a lockdown as authorities searched for that person. They did not find anyone, and the lockdown was eventually lifted. Police say they later learned that a student had left campus after an altercation with another student and had allegedly made threats on social media. That student was found several miles from campus and arrested. Officials say at no point was anyone found to be armed. There was also a scare at Florida International University this morning in Miami. Part of the campus was evacuated due to a, quote, dangerous situation. Officials later revealed there had been reports of an active shooter, but after clearing the campus, they said the report appeared to be false.
The massive manhunt for a suspected shooter is still ongoing in Texas tonight. Francisco Oropesa is wanted for murder after authorities say he walked into his neighbor's house and opened fire, killing 5 people. Hundreds of law enforcement officers are expanding the search for him, which is now in its 4th day. At this point, investigators say they still don't have any information about where he could be. One of the survivors of the shooting says they called 911 over and over, both before and during the shooting. He claims the dispatchers told him deputies were already at the scene, but he says they were not. Authorities have not yet responded to requests for call records from this case. Well, another conviction tonight in the death of George Floyd. Former Minneapolis police officer Tao Tao was found guilty today of aiding and abetting manslaughter. Prosecutors argued he held back bystanders while his colleagues restrained a dying Floyd on the ground. He's the final officer to be convicted in Floyd's death. Derek Chauvin was found guilty of murder. 2 other officers pled guilty in the case. Tao will be sentenced in August.
We have new results tonight in the large international effort to crack down on fentanyl and opioid trafficking. The U.S. and Mexico agreed to work together to stop the drugs moving back and forth across the border. Alice Barr is in Washington and what the operation has been able to achieve so far.
As the deadly, dangerous drug fentanyl drives a mounting toll of overdoses, Attorney General Merrick Garland today announcing the largest ever international crackdown on fentanyl trafficking on the dark web.
You can try to hide in the furthest reaches of the internet, but the Justice Department will find you and hold you accountable for your crimes.
Operation Spectre netting nearly 300 arrests, more than $50 million, and hundreds of kilograms of drugs, including 64 of fentanyl or fentanyl-laced narcotics. The Attorney General long under pressure from both parties to curb the overdose carnage.
This is out of hand. Do you consider your current policies successful?
Today, acknowledging that even as one dark web operation is shut down, dealers quickly shift to the next.
There is a bit of a whack-a-mole problem here, and we are whacking as hard as we can.
I'm telling you, you can literally save someone's life.
Across the country, law enforcement, educators, and community leaders are scrambling to save lives.
And the amount of fentanyl that can kill someone is so minuscule that the danger is just beyond real.
Montgomery College in Maryland hosting a training on Narcan, the drug that can reverse an opioid overdose, as the Justice Department tries to stop the flow of fentanyl.
If it's a way to cut off a supply chain, that's critical.
Everyday Americans in the trenches arming themselves with a last-ditch weapon, hoping for an end to the bombardment. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
New from the Biden administration tonight, the White House is preparing to send 1,500 troops to the southern border in the coming weeks. This is in response to concerns the end of the coronavirus health emergency in the U.S. could bring a new wave of migrants to the country. According to sources, the troops will be tasked with administrative work so border agents can focus on working in the field. Officials have not specified when the troops will start arriving at the border.
Another big change as the nation prepares to end its public health emergency for COVID-19. The White House says it will no longer require federal employees and contractors to get the vaccine. Also coming to an end, the mandate that international travelers be vaccinated before coming to the U.S. Both requirements will officially lift on May 11th when the health emergency is set to expire. The U.S. Surgeon General has come up with a plan to address what he calls an epidemic of loneliness and isolation across the nation. Dr. Vivek Murthy says about half of adults reported they were lonely even before the coronavirus pandemic. Both isolation and loneliness are linked to more serious health problems. Murthy has come up with 6 pillars to address this. They include calling for more pro-connection public policies, increasing education on the benefits of social connection, and reforming digital environments like social media.
A new survey out this week shows a dire situation for the U.S. nursing industry. According to the poll from AMN Healthcare, only 15% of nurses working in hospitals said they plan to continue in the same job next year. About a third said they could leave the profession altogether, citing stress and staffing shortages. Overall, the survey found a 10% drop in job satisfaction just in the last 2 years. It moves quickly and quietly and doesn't take long to be deadly.
He woke up in the middle of the night screaming on top of his lungs and punching his stomach and saying that his stomach was hurting.
A local mom sounding the alarm about the infection that almost killed her son. What she wants every parent to know tonight at 11.
Sending dangerous fumes into the air we breathe.
The products inside your home that researchers say could increase your risk for health problems. And a father and son dragged away from shore. The reminder for people along our coast as we watch another rescue in Florida waters.
But first, a string of stabbings near a university campus. The fear among students tonight as authorities are still searching for a culprit.
Developing tonight in California, a series of stabbings near a university campus has students on high alert.
This is scary. The FBI has now joined the investigation into the seemingly random attacks near the University of California, Davis. Ivan Rodriguez describes the race to figure out if these stabbings are connected and who is behind them.
The danger remains after a string of stabbings near the campus of University of California, Davis. Tuesday morning, officials lifted an overnight shelter-in-place order when they failed to find the suspect in the most recent knife attack.
We're following a multitude of leads, but as of this point, nobody has been identified.
The FBI has joined state and local law enforcement in a manhunt for the suspect.
We are using every available resource to solve these crimes, to bring an end to this violence, and to keep our community safe.
The first victim, a 50-year-old man found dead in a park near campus on Thursday. Then on Saturday, a UC Davis senior was stabbed to death in another park. And late Monday, a woman now hospitalized in critical condition said she was stabbed more than once through her tent in a transient camp.
When we turned to our friend, she had been stabbed once. She thought it was a punch.
It's hard to sleep when you're in fear for your life, bro. It is very, very difficult.
The father of the computer science student killed on Saturday says their family moved to California from Lebanon in 2018, hoping to find a place of safety.
He was just 6 weeks away from graduating. This was his last quarter. He was so proud and so happy and so thankful.
Although police haven't officially connected the three stabbings and the victims weren't known to each other, they say there are common factors. The attacks were brutal and the suspect used a knife. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Another case that put an entire community on edge, the Idaho College murders late last year. And we found out the suspect in those killings, Bryan Kohberger, has a new hearing later this month to discuss the gag order from the judge. Just last week, a roommate who survived the horrific stabbings in their home agreed to speak to Kohberger's attorneys. That means she will not have to appear at his preliminary hearing next month. Kohberger is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and could face the death penalty if convicted.
Tonight in Illinois, I-55 is back open after a deadly pileup that happened in the middle of a dust storm. More than 70 vehicles collided with one another yesterday, killing 6 people and hurting more than 30 others. According to officials, strong winds picked up the dust from newly plowed fields that were in the area and made it impossible for drivers to see. Some of the products you use every day inside your home may be releasing dangerous fumes into the air.
A new study out of California found that more than 5,000 tons of volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, were emitted in that state alone in 2020. VOCs are liquids or solids that turn into gas when exposed to air and sunlight. They're commonly found in shampoos, dish soap, house cleaners, and more. Medical experts say exposure to these compounds can increase the risk of a number of health problems, including asthma, even cancer. They suggest finding safer alternatives when you can. The American Chemistry Council, which represents the U.S. chemical, plastics, and chlorine industries, says its members are serious about producing chemicals that can be used safely.
Back in Florida, the city of West Palm Beach has reversed its decision about the popular Pride on the Block festival. Initially, city leaders had denied a permit for the yearly event, saying the application from organizers had contained, quote, fatal flaws. The mayor now says he has agreed to let organizers correct those errors and submit a new application, which the city claims will be expedited. The mayor also released a statement saying he fully supports the LGBTQ+ community and that the city is looking forward to a safe and successful event.
In Manatee County, a father and his young son swimming just off the coast had to be rescued when a strong rip current swept them away from shore.
All right, buddy, you're gonna climb up, okay? Dad, hold on to that, okay?
I got him.